All right, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Within Range podcast. Jared Suter, Damwan. The ear god is not with us today, Jared, but he's always with us in spirit.
Always.
All right. So with that being said, we have a Phoenix legend in the house today. We've had his brothers on our show. It was only right that we had him come on, share his story and journey. We're honored, like I mentioned many times in the show already, to have been part of the Life of the Party music video shoot.
That was such a good day. We couldn't believe we had no idea what to expect. And we just pulled up and we're like, all right, we'll do our thing. We brought a cooler full of beers. We're like, well, sure, we'll be good with that. We walked out in the backyard and saw the basketball court with the stadium seating. And Dom just looked at me. He's like, no way.
It was the coolest thing we've ever been a part of, a first for us here on the pod. We've also, Jared, gotten the chance to see these guys perform live right here in Phoenix, Mesa.
That the Nile, right? Was that the Nile?
Yep. At the Nile Theater.
That was a good show too. In the main room too. There's the rooms there.
Manager Matt was on the ones and twos.
He was working.
Shout out to Matt Hat, as always.
Always, man. Dude's always working. Representing the biggest hip hop group in Arizona, we are here with A Factor from Odd Squad family.
What's good?
We're gonna get the claps in. We'll have Drew at the claps.
Thank y'all. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming on, man. This was meant to be. And, you know, it was interesting before we started, you said that, you know, you've done some research on us and we appreciate that.
Oh, yeah. If I could just, let me give y'all flowers because y'all podcast is amazing. I really like it. Man, like I said, I was doing my homework. I of course I watched the Snowman and Nubs episodes, but then I just got into it like the futuristic V the Ruler. Y'all got fucking Project Pat. Like,
dude, we got a little bit more of his beanie and not his face in some of the shots than we wanted. But you know what I mean?
We got him.
But you got him.
We got him.
Yep. Nobody out here has his beanie on podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's what I don't think so. I don't think I've seen it.
We could do a whole animated series off that. Do just the Adventures of Project Pat's beanie. It's just the top half of his head of the beanie.
Yeah, but the way y'all do y'all homework and everything is much appreciated. I'm a huge podcast fan. I listen to podcasts all day. So
nice.
The thing I like about you guys is like it didn't matter what episode I was listening to, the way you come at it and the questions you ask is it makes it interesting. I don't care who it was. I didn't know most of the people I was listening to, but it was dope. It didn't matter about the guest. It was more about you guys and your work. So I want to give you guys your flowers. If y'all didn't know, Within Range,
man, thank you for that.
For sure.
Wow,
that's huge.
I'm drinking to that one real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
No one has graced us like that after an intro. So Factor, that's real.
Appreciate that. All right. So aside from us, who are your other favorite podcasts?
I listen to a lot of just Joe Budden. The
Joe Budden,
Club.
Nice.
Joe Rogan, I used to listen to him a lot more back in the day. It kind of fell off once he went to Spotify.
I feel like I only find myself watching the ones when they have like animal stories. Because I want to hear about some guy on there that's like, there's a 64-foot croc in the Nile. And he's just like, I played beer pong with it once. No, Craig. And you're like, what? And the guy, he's like, no way. Really?
I used to be like every episode, but now it's like, if it's somebody I'm interested
They started putting them back on YouTube, I noticed, though.
That's why I kind of got back into it now. But,
it makes a difference, dude. The platform, like I used to try and watch them on Spotify, and I basically only watch like the Shane Gillis and the what are they? Protect Our Parks. You seen those ones? The Protect Our Parks.
Those
are awesome.
The funny ones. Sober Octobers. Those are always good ones.
What do you watch Flagrant at all?
I was about to say Flagrant 2. That's my shit.
Flagrant 2 is good. What's the one with him and Charlemagne? I don't know the actual.
Brilliant Idiots.
What's that one? Charlemagne?
So that's Andrew Schultz.
And
Charlemagne.
They have a lot of guys usually on that platform.
They've had some good moments on that one. Yeah, there's some good combos
really good
on there.
One.
Yeah.
I've been into podcasts for years now. Before it was like super mainstream. So it's I'm into a lot of them, but it's dope to be on one.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome. I would cut every subscription in my life except YouTube Premium. I have to have no commercials on the YouTube. It's a game changer. The amount of knowledge you can consume with no commercials on YouTube.
I watch so much YouTube. Like if I looked at my watch time, it's
probably
like at least 8 hours a day. And I'm not like physically, watching
but you
it
just
the whole
got
time. It's on.
Yeah, I'm the exact same way. I'll be cooking.
I wake up. Yeah.
My company, if they saw it, they'd be horrified. But I'm like, listen, I'm still getting stuff done. It's just off to the side, and I got something playing either there or on the phone when I walk out of here.
Keep it on.
Just background noise.
Yeah,
exactly.
Man, so we're already off to a good start. Speaking of good starts, Factor, here on this show, we typically like to start with the background and work our way to where we're at today. So taking it back, maybe as far as I can take it with a guest for the first time. Your nickname as a kid was Pooh D.
Wow. See, yeah.
I told you.
Pooh D's a
like
crazy
it,
nickname.
like,
How'd
yeah.
that come to be?
I guess it's just like Winnie the Pooh. My name starts with D. Like my government name is Devontae. and
Okay.
My mom, my dad just named me that. Like you had to talk to my parents. Like nobody knows that shit.
Because yeah, as a kid, when you're granted that nickname, it's usually just like a cousin that may say it, and then the
Yeah.
rest of the family picks it up, type stuff. you
Yeah.
know,
So did Pooh Shiesty steal his name from you? Is
No,
that
I mean
confirmed?
I never even like hung on to that one. That's what they called me. And then once I didn't like that.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean,
Well, we
as a
won't bring it
kid,
back then. but-
Pootie. But
Pootie.
yeah, that's a deep cut. See,
Yeah.
like I said,
You didn't
I
know if
did
I was
my-
gonna
I
start
did
like
my
that.
homework. And I'm like, I was racking my brain all week. I'm like, what are these guys gonna come with? I see that one right there. See,
You're sweating.
that's
you're
why
like,
they're the best.
Thank you, man, bro. Thank you. All right, so going from that, then what your first nickname was as a kid, and then you grew up in Colorado Springs.
Yes, sir.
From what I personally know about Colorado Springs, Air Force Base there.
Yep.
Is that kind of how your family ended up there? Just
My
taking
dad was in the Army. They have, now I think we have pretty much every branch of the military
Oh.
except for the Navy.
Okay.
That has a base out there.
the Navy would struggle out there.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of landlocked. But yeah, my dad was in the Army, and that's how he ended up out there and met my mom. She grew up out there. Yeah, it's a super military town. But yeah, my dad was in the Army, and that's how I came to be from Colorado Springs.
And what was growing? If for someone who's never been to Colorado Springs, what can you say? I guess about it. Anything specific about it? Anything you kind of remember growing up there?
I remember, growing up in Colorado and being black, back then, especially in the early 90s, it like was it white people and skiing. That's all.
I'm
that's
picturing
all it
South
was known
Park.
for.
Yeah, I'm picturing South
exactly.
Park Elementary. Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's kind of, weird. I knew, the population, especially, is more integrated now. There's a bunch more races out there, but even back then, because it is a military town, it's mostly white, but
Yeah.
you have all the other races. But it was dope. Growing
Colorado's
up,
a beautiful state.
yes.
Just
Yeah,
And-
if I was saying you said 90s. I'm like, okay, so like late 90s, early 2000s, I was there on like road trips and stuff. So to me, it was like road trip, beautiful, and then like kind of had like a Western vibe to it. And then not to date ourselves too much, I guess, but like in college, it was just if you said I'm from Colorado, someone was like, oh, do you smoke weed? Like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
it became the identity of the entire state.
Yeah. It was dope growing up under a mountain, 14,000 feet, Pikes Peak. I think that really humbles you when you see like that kind of shit. I remember looking out my back window and seeing how big that mountain is, and like,
You could see it
I
out your
want to
back
be on.
window.
Yeah, yeah. When I was
Nice.
growing up, it's just being like, I want to be on top of that and just dreaming big. I think
Yeah.
having the mountains out there was really dope, and then coming out here is crazy from that. But yeah, growing up in Colorado was dope. I really liked it.
and came out to Arizona 2012. I wanted to ask this: did you become A Factor in Colorado, or did you become Factor in AZ?
I was A Factor in Colorado.
Okay.
So A Factor, that's a family name. It comes from my dad's side. My last name is Atkinson, and we're all just kind of a little bit crazy. I would say is a way to describe it. Just different, and since the start, like we could trace our lineage way back pretty far, and it's just always been called the A Factor. Whatever
Wow.
that
No way.
special thing is the A Factor. And growing up, at one point, I remember there was one pivotal point in my life where I did have a different name. I remember being in elementary school and this kid, he called me Black Boy. And I was like, oh, that hurt my
God,
feelings.
Yeah.
But I had this black teacher and she was like, you should be proud of that. She was like, you should be proud. Like he didn't call you anything wrong, because I went back to class crying and stuff. She was like, be proud of that. You're a black boy. Be proud.
Yeah.
Wear that. And so I was like, my rap name is gonna be Black Boy.
Hey, honestly though, I'm sitting here picturing it. That's kind of hard, dude.
Kind of hard.
Black Boy's
Yeah.
kinda hard,
Yeah,
dude.
but I would
That's
have to
kinda hard.
explain the story all the
Yeah,
time.
right.
But once you know the deeper meaning, yeah, it was cool. And then I remember when I was like 15 or 16, I started really getting into recording and stuff. And my homie Paige, he was my first producer. Shout out to Paige. He was the one that told me about really making music and what you need to do to get your paper straight. He told me to sign up for BMI. I know a lot
Okay.
of people don't find that out until a long ways down the
Way
way.
later.
But
To
I
To be
was
honest, I don't
16,
even know
just
what is
getting in.
BMI for the people.
So it's just how you register your music. How
Oh,
you get
okay. So you
paid
can
for
get
music.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, there's ASCAP and BMI. There's like 2 companies you could sign up
It's like
with.
NASDAQ, Dow Jones.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when it finally came to putting my name in and officially putting it down, I went with A Factor because I like it's a family name.
Yeah.
And I was
Solid name.
before that I was like, I'm gonna be Black Boy and I'm gonna make a label called A Factor ENT. And I drew out the logo and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take A Factor. And I think I would make my family proud if I take that. And it definitely
Absolutely.
worked out. So
That's awesome. What was the logo? Can you tell us? Can you describe
it
it?
was just like an A and then some,
Close.
high school.
Yeah, okay, I got it.
Doodle
Yeah.
and
It was like the
stuff.
S. Yeah.
Yeah.
The S everyone draws.
Oh yeah, with the 3 lines.
Yeah, yeah.
Start. Man. So okay, so what prompted the move to AZ?
My homies, they got evicted from their house
In Colorado.
in Colorado.
Okay.
So after high school, we were just partying, making music. I used to just go up to their house. They had the studio. They built the studio for me, and I was just recording up there. And we were just known for throwing these crazy like ragers. Just all the high schools would come up, and it was up north.
If there's one location like that in high school, that's like a godsend. Like
Yeah.
you don't get that. College, you can get that places,
Yeah.
but like high school, yeah, that's
Yeah, it was a big ass house too. That they all rented out. It was like 4 or 5 of my homies got together and they rented it out. And excuse me. One day, this just got too much. There was fights in the street, and it was crazy. And at this time, I was 19, turning 20, and I just needed a change. I feel like I was just getting too comfortable. I was still living with my mom. I wasn't really trying to get a job because I'm trying to make the music work, and I'm like. And out there, I mean, Colorado Springs, there's no real big hip hop scene. So
Right,
it's like,
right.
fuck. And me and my homies, we had talked about moving to Arizona like a year before. We wanted to do it like that following year in 2012. We just didn't know when. It was going to be like maybe towards the summer, something like that. And
the best time.
yeah,
Best time to come out here.
But then that party happened, and like a week later, I was like, my mom does a step class. She dances and stuff, and I was just DJing for her. I'll just go down there and support.
Zumba or mixed fit or what are we talking?
It's
Just
like
one of those
R&B line dancing.
R&B
Okay.
line dancing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds like
That
something that would
sounds
be in
dope.
Colorado Springs.
Yeah,
That sounds fire.
She teaches that. So I was just DJing for her, and then I got a call. They were like, "Crazy question. You want to move to Arizona with us in like 2 weeks?" It was like a week after my 20th birthday, and like I said, I was going through a lot of shit. I'm like, yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. There's
That
like
sounds
free
pretty good.
ride, just pay us back whenever. Like we just want you to come because you're the homie. I think it would be
Yeah.
dope, and we were talking about it anyway. So it's on us. Come out. I'm like, I was like, I pretty much made my mind up right
Now,
then.
had you been to Arizona before? Even?
Never.
Yeah, why
never even
Arizona? Why had it
visited.
been?
Yeah.
Why had it been talked about? What was it?
My homie Jay, he always wanted to go to ASU since he was young. And we were partiers and we heard that it was the party college.
yo.
I mean, I remember it didn't have a frat row when I went there because it
They got
deemed
shut
a,
down,
Got
same.
deemed a brothel by
Yeah.
the Tempe PD,
Yeah.
and they shut it down.
Yeah,
It's
see,
like,
we
God,
missed the good days.
right.
But
Right after.
yeah, so we just
we were number one in innovation back then. I'll tell you
No,
that.
no.
yeah, I guess the original idea was for us to go to ASU. But that didn't end up happening. And even Arizona was just supposed to be a stop before we moved to California. but
Right. Yep.
You know how that happens. I think a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
It's just
It's a nice
end up-
permanent pit stop
Yeah.
sometimes. You know? Yeah.
It's not a bad place to be, man. And so, when did you meet Chunk?
Chunk, crazy, man. I met him the first day that me and my homies came to Arizona.
Really?
Day one,
Day
well, a legitimate day one.
So this is like everything that happened to me, like it's always just meant to happen. Like it was crazy. Like the first day of 2012, or January 1st. Obviously we threw a New Year's rager night before, but we get up early. Let's go hoop. Let's start the year off
Right.
right.
Let's go.
So we
Sounds
go
like
up
a
to
day
the
in the life
park.
of
Yeah.
Dom, right?
Hell
here.
yeah, dude.
You go over a little hungover, get some energy drinks, some water, some Gatorade.
You'll sweat
you
it out.
good.
You'll sweat the rest of it out, dude.
And start start off the year on a good leg. So we went out there and just this other dude just came out to the park, the homie Brian. He was like, "Oh yeah, I just moved out here from Arizona and I seen y'all was at the park, so I wanted to say what's up, come play some ball." And so we hooped it up with him that day. And that night he invited me over to his house. It was just like right across the street from the park. He was a cool dude. I'm like, sure, it's just like just going with the vibe. Like,
Yeah.
it felt right. Like
Absolutely.
this could be the homie. Like he went in there, cooked me up some steak and shit. Like
Yeah.
we had a
I
couple
whipped him up a
beers, we
burger just
smoked.
before you got here,
Yeah.
dude.
I'm
Yeah.
like, this dude is dope. And then he was just chopping it up, smoking in his garage. And he's like, "What you do?" I was like, "Oh, I rap." And then I showed him my music. And come to find out, this is years later I find this out. One, so he's the one that introduced me to Chunk. Chunk is the one that called him. I guess Brian had called Chunk, was like, "Oh man, I'm out here in Colorado. I don't know what to do, man. How do I meet people?" Chunk was like, "Go to a basketball court."
Yo, what?
So I
It's
ended up
actually
meeting
great.
And then he
him.
met you.
And then he met me. And then that night I showed him my music and he hit up Chunk, sent him my shit. He's like, "Send me your shit. I got some people in Arizona that might want to hear it or whatever." I was like, "Okay, cool." Then he sent it to Chunk.
Wow.
And then a few months later, when just all this shit is crazy by chance. Like I'm saying, it was crazy how the eviction happened, and then literally in 2 weeks,
Meant to be.
we were coming out here. And we got here on April 1st, or
April
we
Fool's
left
Day.
on April 1st, and we got here April 2nd. Just so happens, before they even got evicted, Brian had booked his flight to come out here to visit his mom. So we
Wow.
drive out here. Brian lands, we hit him up. So we already have a connection. And he was like, "Remember the dude I told you about? I showed him your music. He's gonna pull up and smoke with you and just come chop it up." So we're at the hotel and Chunk pulls up with Brian and we smoke like some fire shit. And then
In the hotel too. That's a little riskier.
we're out in the hotel.
Oh, okay,
parking
that's
lot.
fine. You know.
And
Yeah,
that's funny
okay.
because that's become a thing now that we're on tour. Like me and the guys, it's the hotel parking lots.
Just the
Just
parking
ask
lot.
them about it one time.
All the groupies are gonna be swarming when they're gonna find out what
It's
hotel
just
you're at.
like
dude. Yeah.
if you like the secret is if you ever need somewhere to smoke,
Yeah.
go to a hotel parking lot.
So
Nobody's gonna
really?
say shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
what are they
wow.
gonna do?
I didn't think about
Yeah.
that.
It's like you're out of town or whatever. Nobody's gonna mess with you. You just smoke. And then
The more you
We
know.
we've like even traveling through cities. Damn, we want to smoke. Stop at a hotel. But yeah,
That's
so
a
we're
fucking great.
You pull
We're
in the
great
Motel
theory.
6 and
Yeah.
just.
whatever. Just
blaze
pull
it
up. So yeah, I actually
I mean,
got
I'm
to
not
meet
questioning
Chunk the
anyone in a
very
Motel
first
6.
day that I came out here. So
Wow.
that built the rapport, and from there he just took me under his wing, and did Chunk's done so much for me.
Wow. Day one. That's.
That's crazy. Well, and then so I think the start too with Chunk. Were you sponsored by Splitterillos and Trendsetter?
Yes, sir.
That was like now. Was that something that Chunk kind of already had lined up, or was that?
I believe he already had connections to them, but once I actually got out here and because it was a few months after I mean, which is really quick. A few months after I
Insane.
got out here, he took me over there, pulled up, I showed him some music, made some shit, and then there was like, yeah, for sure. Like
Wait, was
you're
this
dope.
was the Splitterillo what you put on there and then you ran it across and it sliced it
No.
open? No,
That was
What
just the
that?
name of the
Oh,
cigarette.
okay.
the blood
okay.
wrap,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Yeah.
But they had like, it's funny, they had like backwoods type
Mhm,
things. They were
mhm.
called hood wraps, and back then I didn't know what the fuck those shits was. That was some
Right.
East
Very
Coast
direct
shit.
marketing
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah,
like
hood
jeez,
rats,
like
yeah.
yeah, hood rat. Jesus.
Yeah. But I used to we used to do dumb shit with them. We did not roll them right. But that was just funny. But we used to have like boxes of shit.
Yeah,
Me and my
sponsor.
homies, like, because obviously coming from Colorado, like we moved out the year that it became legal. So it
Oh,
was
okay.
Oh, okay.
But
That was
wait-
like 2015, 2014?
2012
Oh, it was
was the
2012.
year it became
oh, it was
legal.
even. Oh, wow.
So the year we left is the year it became legal, but not known to a lot of people. Colorado gets down, and we've been
Oh,
getting
yeah.
down.
You guys
Like,
are- yeah.
we smoke
I
heavy,
feel like
and
that's the reason
why,
it was the melting pot it is today. You said
Yeah.
it wasn't what it was then. I feel like that probably has a big part.
and that's
of it.
why it was
Yeah.
one of the first states. Like,
Yep.
like because we've been smoking, we've
Made sense.
been on the mushrooms because we nature people,
Yep. I love that.
If it
bro.
comes from the earth, how could it be wrong?
right?
Exactly. All right, so I think the next question, Jared, is only right, but tell us how you met the boys, man.
Man, funny story. I was in Trendsetter Studio. Um, Shout out to Trendsetter, man. They've did a lot for me. I got some shows in LA and stuff, and got to just work pretty much for free. Like Chunk just hooked it up, had the right people, so I was getting the boxes of splits and all this just off love, basically, because my music was good and they fucked with it. One day I was just up there. I'm like, especially back then, I was just in there all the time. It's like Chunk would come all the way out to Guadalupe, come get me, and we'd go all the way up north to Glendale.
Snowman talked about
Oh,
that.
geez, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's not.
Or was it Nubs?
So what's that?
I think
like?
Nubs, because Nubs lived in Scottsdale, and he's like, we would be
Oh, yeah.
driving all the way.
Yeah, because after a while, Nubs used to come get me from Guadalupe.
Okay, I mean, I'll be honest. Scottsdale to Guadalupe, not the worst without traffic, but
No,
But to go to the
Guadalupe
west side
to
from
west
there?
side,
Yeah,
that's
that's-
brutal.
that's
a
that's
hike,
that's a
man.
hike. Dude. If you had to go from Scottsdale to Guad to then,
yeah, he
Whew,
went
that's
Scottsdale.
love.
Yeah, because then we had to go get Snowman, so we went to Levine, and then
Oh man!
oh
And
my
then
god,
that's
wait,
all corners
so you
of the
had to hit
valley right there.
Scottsdale to
That's literally all four
Guadalupe,
corners of
yeah,
the
to
valley.
Levine.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
legit.
that
yeah,
is.
so it was a trip. But
Wow.
just one day I'm in there working at the studio, just doing my thing. Like Nub said, there was like 20 people in there, like a regular day, trapping or doing whatever. I'm in
Right.
there working, not really paying attention. Then somebody comes in there. I don't know if it was Chunk or one of the other homies. They just was like, yo, you're not gonna believe it, but there's a dude back there with no arms and no legs. He's rolling a blunt. What?
That's something you.
Yeah,
You gotta
I
go
was like,
see,
okay,
dude.
you fucking with me. Nah, that ain't it. His homie is black, but he's white.
Stop
It's
it!
like he's
Stop
albino.
it, dude. This is black, but
like,
he's
Yeah,
white.
that's crazy.
I'm like, there's no way. So like, I have to go see it.
That's the way
I've
Joe
never
Dirt
seen
would have
somebody
described it, dude.
roll a blunt with no arms. Like I don't think I've ever seen anybody with no arms. So let me go
No.
check this out. And I seen them. Nubs rolled the blunt, smoked it,
Just
and
pearled it.
then, yeah, just how
Highly
Nubs does.
publicized on YouTube.
Yes.
If you haven't
it's-
seen Nubs do that,
it's a real thing, man.
you're not a YouTube person because that's one of the first things you could not even know he makes music.
Yeah.
And you've seen that
And
video.
there's
Yeah.
a lot of people that don't even know. He's the blunt guy, man. Like, how do you roll a blunt with no hands? I don't
Incredible.
know. But, and then I they told me they rapped and they showed me some shit. Cool. And then we ended up. They had a show. They got on stage at one of my shows. Justice brought him up on one of the Underground Railroads because Chunk started getting me on the Underground Railroad from the very
Damn,
first
Chunk was
show.
working, bro.
Chunk's a connector.
Yo,
Chunk,
yeah.
and doing
Chunk
it for
is the one.
the
Chunk
just
is
for
the
the
man.
love, dude. Just
Yeah,
like
Absolutely.
like,
doing it for the culture.
one of the
Yeah.
most genuine guys. Like
Yeah.
never asked me for anything. Just like believes in me, sees the talent, and is like, I'm gonna do the most I can for you.
That's
And
awesome, man.
like, everybody needs somebody like that. And
Yeah.
I've just
Yeah.
been lucky with all the people that I have in my life at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the guys, man, just meeting them was crazy. And then I started seeing their talent and their potential, and like, man, these guys are dope. And with me, like one thing a lot of people maybe don't understand of it, like our relationship is like super deep. Like I love these guys. Like
Oh,
I deal
You
with
can
brothers,
tell,
man.
dude. You can tell
Yeah.
because it's just like I feel like because you all have solo songs and things that you've done, but
Mhm.
you can tell that it's without even like knowing you guys, you can tell that it's done from a group that's tight.
Yeah.
Because it's just like so and so, A Factor from Odd Squad. Like you
Mhm.
always tie to it, and it's always on the platforms of like Only Dreamers or Odd Squad for the most part. It seems like you can tell you guys are tight. It's cool.
Yeah.
It comes through in the music.
It's like it's really a family because I deal with a lot of social anxiety and shit. So just kind of seeing them be who they are and just so different and stand out, like, and just being comfortable in that inspires me so much. Like as who I am, like I'm kind of recluse. I'm really shy in like real life, and to see that like even now, like I'm like, man, like I just aspire to be like that every single day. Like, damn, how could you none of us would know what we'd do if we were born in any one of their situations. Like
It gives you
it's just
the
so
begs the
different.
question of like, what's my excuse?
Yeah, exactly.
What's my
Absolutely.
excuse?
Yep.
And
Yep.
just like these guys are as cool, if not cooler, in many ways than like anyone else. It's just like, what's my excuse for not putting myself out there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just seeing that and how comfortable they were. Um, I just wanted to see them grow. Like I just loved it, and I was like, they have the image.
Yeah.
They're dope. Like at that point, they were pretty raw. They were kind of just starting, and not to say anything bad about it, but I was like way ahead at that point. By the time I met them, I probably put out 7 solo mixtapes at that point.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
7. Okay. Wow.
It's a lot
Were
of
they,
projects.
when did it become Odd Squad? Was that when, and I know there was Frosty, RIP,
Mhm.
but when did it become Odd Squad versus what were they their own thing?
So they
The
were
tune- they have a
already,
name?
They were Odd Squad family.
Okay,
but it was
okay, and
just
then
Nubs and Snowman.
Families grow.
Yeah, and then Frosty, he wasn't officially yet. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right,
It was
right,
like
right.
little bro got to grow up a little bit more,
Yeah.
and then he'll be in the squad. But man, that Frosty. Let me just take a minute to talk about Frosty.
Please.
He's better than all of us. Like,
Snowman, I think, said the same exact
Yeah.
thing. I mean, it's his little brother, but
yeah,
for
but
you to say
like
that too,
for real, and I remember one of my favorite moments in my life was him telling me that I was his favorite rapper because he was so young and so dope, and where I was at his age, I'm like, damn, like you're past that, and I just wanted to nurture that and grow that. And I remember showing him this song called "Die Once," and then he came back and he was like, yo, that's my favorite song. He was like, you are my favorite rapper. And that touched me
Wow.
so much. And I'll always hold that to heart.
damn.
And just when it comes to freestyles, like mainly the freestyle.
Okay, I was gonna ask what his thing was. Is that
it was
was that
freestyling? This dude,
what a skill?
Just
I
came to
remember
him.
on his birthday, we were over at this hotel across the street from the Mills Mall. He just wanted to hang out with us. Hang
At the
out with us
Dury,
and a
the
couple
Dury
of
something.
yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
I think that's
next to
exactly
Chrissy's
what it was.
Cabaret and the Waffle House, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're there and he like we just put on beats and this I remember this freestyle that he did. I'm like, dude,
A
it's
legit
like
freestyle.
did you like legit freestyle? But the way he was going, he was putting a story together, and the way he was flowing, I'm like. I was like legit, like, did you write that? He was like, nah, straight freestyle. I'm like, you're my favorite rapper.
Yeah, that's
Like,
crazy.
it's like,
I'll say this: it goes levels. It's like if you're looking at your phone and it's a cool freestyle, that's tier 3. If you memorize stuff and you can do it and make it look like a freestyle, that's cool.
yeah.
But
But if it's
the peak
actually
to do it.
the peak is right there
off
from
the
down.
top, yeah.
Wow.
That's why Riff Raff's the greatest freestyle. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
But yeah, Frosty was the one.
Man.
Frosty was the one. He was gonna, and that's why we all seen it.
Yeah.
We're like, cool. We don't do our thing, but once he's like ready to go and we unleash Frosty on
Yeah.
everybody,
Yep.
it's over.
Man.
Wow.
So I'm curious to know, right? Like you just said you had 7 projects before that. You know, the squad was already doing their thing. What was the moment for you with the squad when you guys were like, we're doing it? Like you felt the residual effects of it. Do you remember that moment when you guys knew you made it, I guess, kind of?
I mean, honestly, there's been a few moments like
Because you guys have progressed over
yeah,
time.
like when we like when we first got in contact with Action, that was a moment like
Shout out
shed
Action.
tears. Like shout out to Action because like the year I moved out here, got with Chunk, I'm on Facebook. I'm just adding everybody. I don't care. I'm going down Chunk's friends and I'm doing this. I come across Action. I see he's the one responsible for Futuristic. That's
Yep.
when Futuristic was
He was going nuts
crazy.
back then, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Those nerd freestyles
So
are going crazy back then, dude.
I just followed Action from there, not even really knowing him as a person or anything, just following it because I know this is somebody that could help me move out here.
I remember doing that when I started ASU. I just started friending people from the class. You
Yeah.
you did that on Facebook.
Yeah.
back
Yeah,
then.
exactly.
Random
That's
friend
what it was
request.
for.
It
And
wasn't
back
a
then,
wild
it wasn't
move.
weird.
It wasn't a wild
no,
move.
you
back
do that
then.
Now
shit
it's
now.
weird.
Yeah.
It
Don't
was
do
like
that.
you were just like, holy shit, someone from so and so wants to be my friend. Yes.
Yeah. And then people
And
would
it was
add you.
Pre-bots.
Yeah.
Pre-bots though. That's
Yeah.
an important
Yeah,
part of it.
Exactly. Yeah, that changed the game because we don't know if you're fake now.
No.
But yeah, just but I came across Action and then yeah, with that moment when we finally got under his wing and got to be in that studio and really take it up to the next level. That was one of those moments. And our first tour, another moment when we dropped "Smoke My Pain." That was probably one of the biggest.
Still doing numbers,
Yeah.
that video,
Yeah.
until this
Or-
day.
I mean, does anyone? Okay, so I know Futuristic, and if you count Big Dawes TV with all that, like that he was doing that on, like they have some crazy numbers on
Yeah.
like those rap videos. But if we're talking just straight music videos, I mean, I haven't done the math personally, but does anyone residing in the state of Arizona that reps Arizona even come close to the numbers? You guys have, I would assume, tens of millions, if not into 9 figures worth of views across just
Gotta be.
YouTube alone, but like across platforms.
Yeah, it got to be a crazy number.
I mean, it's millions of views.
Yeah.
Like that's
It's like I
the
don't know.
top of the mountain. If you hit
Yeah.
it, if there's an M in there in your views, your thing was a
True.
success. That's crazy.
Yeah. To see that that song hit a lot. That was crazy. Actually one moment that the guys are gonna like is funny. One moment kind of before we got with Action that I was like, damn, like we're actually doing this shit. We dropped a remix to Burner's song called Organic. And we shot the video at Contempt. This is studio up north that Matt used to work at.
Okay.
Mini One, Arizona legend. That's his studio. But we shot that video and we posted it on Facebook. And like the first day, like we were in like the tens of thousands. Like it was going viral.
Yeah.
Like, and then the next day, or maybe it was up for 2 days or so, but we're getting mad views. It's like crazy. We're looking at it like, wow, like this is the first one that ever like really caught traction.
When you're used to a couple thousand or a few hundred,
Sure.
and then you hit
probably
all of a
just like
sudden
a
that.
few hundred really at that point, and then
Right.
like maybe 1,000 or so. But then that video came, and so it was out for a couple days. We're getting mad views. Snowman accidentally deleted
Stop
the video from our Facebook.
I don't know if he
did that.
told us
No, he
this.
didn't talk. Who
No, of
talks
course
about
he did. He
who
didn't
talks
want to
about
admit that.
fumbling the bag like that? That's crazy.
That-
Snow.
That one,
No.
bro, we were so
Oh,
fucking mad at that man. Like, at
How
that
bad
point-
was he in the doghouse? For
Oh,
that,
he
dude? I
he
mean,
knew he
that's-
fucked up too,
He's on rolling duty for
bruh. Like
indefinitely.
we don't want Snowman to roll.
Oh,
It's gonna take
Oh my
forever,
God, insult
but
to injury.
he has gotten
dude.
better over the years. But I could tell you, he was not.
Back then he wasn't.
He's
Back
more of a
then,
quality
no,
takes
he
time
would be
kinda
the
guy.
last pick. He would be
Really?
the last pick. Like, a matter of fact, maybe that would be a punishment for him. Like, you have to go because I mean, we were getting traction. People like I'm talking mad comments.
Yeah.
Everybody loving the song,
And it just went away.
How do you accidentally? I mean, was it? Did he fat finger it? Was it a?
It was
He left it
the
open in
way-
his pocket.
Because
the way
I'll
he-
just say this: I've tried to delete videos from YouTube, and it's hard.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
But see, it was up on our Facebook. The Facebook was going crazy. But I
okay.
think the thing that happened since it was on Facebook, I think he tries to justify it by saying he tried to delete. He thought it was a duplicate post or something.
Oh,
Because you could post something on Facebook, it's the post,
and then
and
it
then
goes
you
to
can share the post.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think he deleted the shared one, which
But it
deleted the
Oh.
original.
He hit you
one
with a
or
what had happened
whatever.
was. See what had
Bro,
happened
he
was.
hit us up, and we're hot too. But and then we just reposted it, and it didn't do nearly what it was
the
doing.
first number.
That could fracture a young group, dude. I mean,
Absolutely.
that you finally have that little taste of success, and someone just does that.
Yeah, that one hurt, but it's like I
It's a
said,
good
we're,
thing
we're
he
brothers,
can rap.
so it's
Yeah.
like
Is a
whatever.
good thing he can rap.
Yeah,
dude.
we just laughed at it. We were like, "This is gonna be a funny story to tell one day." So
Man,
Here it
we
is.
go.
Here it is.
that's dope. All right, Jay, you almost ready to get into the music?
Yeah, I'm ready. You just talked about some remixes or freestyles. that you did,
Before
but yeah,
before we
let's
do
it.
though,
Take a little
one more
breather.
thing, but just before the music, we could take a breather too. This may seem random factors. I hope it's not like too off the wall, but there was something we heard also from your childhood. I didn't really know where to fit it in, so I was like, well, maybe before we get to the music, was there an incident with a girl cousin when you were a kid?
Oh shit. Yeah.
Did something transpire? We might have
Okay.
heard something.
Hey, listen, blood's thicker than water, but
Okay.
it's not all the time, dude. You know what I mean? Sometimes water can get thickened. I've seen some muddy water.
So I guess let me explain myself.
Okay.
So like when I say the A factor, yeah, we a little bit crazy. That comes
You
with
did- you did
temper,
say that.
right?
You
Like
did say
that it's a little bit of the temper thing too. So like I'm cool, but like once you put me there, I'm like I can't think straight.
You got a limit, right?
You're talking to a guy with Irish family from County Tyrone
You understand
in,
that.
in Derry, dude. It's
like
it's in the blood.
I
Dude.
have a limit. I'm cool until I ain't.
Right.
And then
When keeping it real goes wrong. Yeah.
So I mean, we were just out there like I used to. My parents used to send us me and my brothers to Oklahoma for some summers to spend time with our family.
We're in. I lived in Edmond, Oklahoma for
Lawton.
Lawton. I don't even know where is that.
In the middle of nowhere.
Wow.
What part? Like north, middle?
I don't even know.
You don't even know.
We'll look it up on the show.
We'll look it up. We'll give it a little star.
It's probably somewhere in the middle. I don't know. But Lawton, Oklahoma, small town. Nothing to do out there but go to the YMCA. That's all we did.
Good hoop?
Yeah.
Great hoop, probably.
All day. And then jump into the pool because before Arizona, that was the hottest place I have ever experienced.
The humidity out there.
Humidity will get you, dude.
It's different. So yeah, we're out there at my cousin's house and we were play fighting in the yard. And my cousin Brianna, she hit me in the face. She hit me a little bit too hard. So,
get the tear ducts running because that happens. That's a natural reaction.
I was like, I felt
Can't
it.
help
so
that.
I thought we was just playing, but I guess we ain't playing no more.
Yeah, exactly.
So what I did is I grabbed her and I slammed her. I didn't know there was a sprinkler right there. I didn't.
I didn't hear about the sprinkler.
So I slammed her on top of the sprinkler, and then it went pretty dramatic. I ended up running down the street. I'm like, run away.
You fled the scene?
Yeah.
That's nice. I like that.
Everybody trying to kind of catch
You're
me.
gonna take the rap for that?
Yeah.
No, you gotta.
It's like everyone's like, why would you do that? Then I got locked outside of the house, and then it was a big thing. And then, we ended up hugging it out, and we laugh about that shit like hysterically now. So, it's family. So
that's amazing.
It was something that came up in the research. I was like, I gotta find a good place to put it, but let's see what the.
That's a classic though. That's just a more extreme version of like you're playing with your younger brother, punching around.
Goes too
Someone
far.
gets hit in the face. You're laughing. He cries. Don't tell mom.
Yep.
Yeah.
He inevitably tells mom.
But other than that, that was a great trip. Like we ended up that same night. We were just in there up there probably till like 4:00 in the morning, just making melodies out of different random Disney songs.
Oh yeah.
So we just make our own little songs. I ended up sleeping.
A whole new
under
world was
bunk
popping
bed,
that
so-
night.
Dude, I'm telling you right now.
Shout out to your cousins.
Dude, cousins
are dope.
Also, if
Yeah.
I was making a Disney hip hop song,
Yeah.
I would 100% remix "Kiss the Girl" from The Little Mermaid.
Okay.
I
It's got a
think
little,
that was
it's got a
somewhere
little
in there.
Caribbean, like Jamaican
we
flair
was-
too. Dun dun dun, you got to kiss the girl.
Yeah,
Dude, come
so
on, dude.
it was like a melody. So we just have like it was probably some of that in there.
I guarantee you
and then
that
a
made
little
the
bit
cut.
of-
It's one of the
a little
hardest
bit
Disneys.
of Beauty and the Beast.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then we're just coming up with it together, just little pieces
Chopping
of
it.
every song, and just it was dope. So shout
That's
out to
dope.
my cousins. That was fun. Other than the slamming, but
A little incident.
even then, it was like we're gonna laugh about this one day.
Yeah.
So.
Talk about it in a podcast
Yeah,
usually.
exactly.
All right, Jared, let's.
Wait, before the music, I saw
Oh, go
something
ahead.
else on there we got to ask about.
Oh, go ahead.
Give me your starting. Okay, if you're a Pokemon aficionado,
Oh,
is
shit.
that a thing?
Yeah, I like Pokemon Go.
You like
I'm a
Pokemon Go guy?
Yeah,
Okay, I was
yeah.
gonna say. All right, what's your starting lineup?
Man,
Did you play the Game Boy games? Or is that or
see,
you Pokemon
I never
Go?
had a
Pretty
Game
much.
Boy, bro.
Never had a Game Boy.
The
had a
Game Boy games
Boy.
were.
That
That
was-
was the first love.
That was
right
the
there.
start of a deep spiral for me.
Yeah.
It started in kindergarten, dude, and it really transpired into adulthood.
My older brother Nick, he came to live with us, but his mom was in Atlanta. She always used to send him shit. So he had a Game Boy Advance, and I used to love Donkey Kong. That was
Oh,
the only
Great
only
game.
game
Good
I
stuff.
played on the Game Boy.
Just avoid the
Advance.
barrels.
Yeah, but Pokemon, man, I remember
Who's your favorite?
man. I mean, it got to be Charizard.
Yeah,
I'm an OG. Like
dude.
I was born in
The baddest of the
1900s.
bad, dude. Baddest of the bad.
1992. So, yeah, that was the first one. But also maybe Squirtle, Blastoise.
I was gonna say,
Blastoise.
Who
Gotta
has
be
the
up
most street cred of any Pokemon?
there. Ooh, the
Yeah.
most
Charizard's
street kid.
Charizard's up there. I feel like Bulbasaur is getting no love.
No,
No,
that's-
not the
that's-
Bulbasaur's not hot. in the
Venusaur not
streets.
getting it either.
No, you'll take Charmander and Squirtle over Bulbasaur.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
Pikachu, the mascot, like, also, I mean, mad love. I mean, you got Rayquaza. That's probably shiny Rayquaza. That's probably
I don't
one
even-
of my
is
favorites.
that a newer-
Rayquaza,
was that a
that's
newer
guy. That
Pokemon?
wasn't the
that's one of
151.
It's a later generation.
Okay.
It was after the
Rayquaza.
151, but since I'm on Go, like that was that's one of the best Pokemon.
It's just
And it looks
Rayquan
dope.
pops out of a Pokeball.
Yeah.
because they got shinies and stuff, and
Yeah.
the shiny is black, and any black shiny is one of the dopest. Hence Charizard, shiny, black.
Okay.
I remember if you had a Charizard hologram card back in the day,
Dude,
you
was
were the
over.
king.
I moved and I remember I like gave him my binder of Pokemon cards to this kid, and I hope that fucking kid still has it because it's probably
It's
worth
worth some-
50, 80 bands.
Man.
I had multiple like first edition holographic Charizards. I had a first edition holographic Dark Blastoise, and then I had holographic first edition Japanese versions of cards, dude. Because
Damn,
I was in San
yeah.
Francisco, so I had Japantown.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah,
had
you're
the,
right there.
the Pokemon
Oh,
plug.
man. I'm jealous.
Dude,
Like-
I was talking to
Yeah.
Pablo about.
I used to be
Pokemon
in the
cards.
cards heavy. I was a badass kid. I'll tell you one thing about Pokemon cards. I like I said, I was a badass kid. I used to be in the principal's office all the time. I remember one time I found myself in the principal's office
Mhm.
like all day. So the principal was in and out. That was when Pokemon was huge. You couldn't have Pokemon at school.
No.
You get caught, confiscate. I look over, big box of Pokemon right there.
It's the honey pot. It's a trick.
How do I not grab some?
It was
I'm
just
talking about,
a box of cards.
I got some Japanese, like a
Stop
box of
it, dude.
like loose cards, like
oh,
people's
God.
best decks that they were coming to show off. Like I got some like Japanese hollow Jolteon. That was my favorite one. I'm like,
Damn.
because I'd never seen when it had pocket monsters on the back. Man, look, and the whole back was different with the man.
I
look,
remember. I know
I
what you're
stole a
talking
bunch
about,
of
dude.
them. I never got caught, but karma came around, and my cousin, I put all my good shit, even the shit that I got, in one book, and then I only used to take that to my cousin's house. I wouldn't bring it anywhere else.
Couldn't flex the
Wow.
stolen goods anywhere
Man,
else.
you know,
yeah, yeah.
One day I'm going to leave, packing up my shit. I know my Pokemon thing was over here. My whole book.
Oh no.
Book gone. Never seen it again.
You got Thomas Crown Affair, dude? He hit you with the Thomas Crown Affair
One
on
of
the
the
Pierce
Pokemon?
saddest
Brosnan.
things.
That's
'cause
crazy.
especially like, when COVID hit and all the cards
It went nuts.
Yeah,
crazy.
it went nuts. I remember that.
I was mad. I was mad at him. I'm like, man, if my cousin didn't steal the fucking cards when I was 11, man, I would have been up.
Oh,
right
yeah.
Big,
now.
Bitcoin
yeah.
what?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I'll tell you, the one that shocked me was, so like I'm a guy that's into Star Trek, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. Not a big Harry Potter guy. That's just a personal thing. More of I'm a Tolkien guy. I like plenty of nerdy things. Not a big superhero. All that to say, I like and enjoy that stuff. But one thing that I just could never get into was Magic: The Gathering.
No,
Couldn't. Do
I don't
it.
even know what that is.
Dom, it's
don't worry.
just
about
like
it.
just picture the nerdiest thing South
Yeah.
Park would ever make fun of, and it's
Okay.
about
Dungeons
that.
and Dragons.
And
type
I
stuff?
remember thinking that
Yeah.
my whole life. And then someone was telling me, he's like, yeah, do you know what this card's worth? And I'm like, what? I'm like, $50. He's like, 10 grand.
Wow.
I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, this card's worth 10 grand to someone that plays Magic: The Gathering. And I just
That's
completely,
crazy, dude.
and then I have a coworker who plays Diablo, and he's like got his account to a point. Dude, they sell accounts.
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
These guys
I've heard about
grind
that.
accounts,
and then just
build
sell
it
them off.
up, and then sell it off for like 5 figures, dude. It's crazy. Could you imagine paying 10 plus G's for a fucking Diablo account?
No.
Who's doing that? Dead Mouse? Like, it's the only person I
Maybe.
know that get like celebrity.
Yeah.
Who's paying for that?
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, there's a lot of nerds out there making a lot of money. And
It's
they-
crazy.
it's
Yeah,
like,
man.
My homie Tom, he was like my roommate. He was one of the dudes I moved out here with. He's into Dota too. I don't know
Oh.
if you've ever heard of that.
I mean, I know the base hunter. Dun, 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 Dota. Dun, dun,
So I
dun.
think it's like basically it's a spinoff of League of
Yeah,
Legends or
yeah,
some shit.
yep.
And the brother, that nigga, he's obsessed with that shit.
Wow.
So I know about that nerd. He'd be staying up all night clicking buttons. I'm like, I tried to look into it, get into it. I can't,
Nah.
man.
I
There's
need a
lot of
controller
things.
in my hand, dude.
Yeah.
I need a controller in my hand, and I need to be shooting something, whether it's a basketball or a gun.
Yeah.
Something's getting shot if I'm picking up a controller.